Herzlich willkommen zurück bei uns, bei der Bühne 3. I will switch now to English as our next presentation will also be in English. It's called Earth to AY, New Ideas for Our Planet. And with me are two Microsoft communication experts. I'm very happy to welcome Thomas Lutz. He is head of communication for both internal and external affairs. While he is from Microsoft Austria, while Isabel Richter, she is from Microsoft Germany and head of communication for strategic and political corporate issues. So thank you very much for being here. We are very interested in your presentation, and now I would like to hand over to you and wish everybody a nice workshop.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I hope you can hear me well. On behalf of Microsoft, I would like to extend a warm welcome to you. And we are talking today about a very important topic about sustainability and a dedicated communication project on that topic. My name is Thomas Lutz. I'm the company spokesman for Microsoft here in Austria. And let me introduce also my colleague from Berlin, Isabel Richter, my comms counterpart for corporate affairs. So let me take another perspective on the subject, quite a bigger one. We see sustainability and our response to it as one of the greatest challenges of our lifetime, and I'm pretty sure that everyone will agree on that. And despite an estimated drop in carbon emissions from COVID-related economy shutdowns, global carbon emissions continue to rise, and we are generating too much waste, polluting the land, sea, air, water, and too much emission at the end. We are polluting oceans and freshwater systems and depleting them faster than they can replenish. Climate change will continue to impact our food, our water, economies and communities all around the world. But we believe that it's not too late to put together a future that allows everyone not only to survive, but also to prosper and flourish. And for that, we need to work at the intersection of technology and science. So they are really on crossroads. So we can better understand what's happening. So when we want to, I would say, to rescue our world, then we first have to understand it. And technology gives us exactly that into our hands. And this project is exactly what then my colleague Isabel will then present to you, is exactly on that intersection between technology and the key stakeholders for sustainability, from science, from civil sector, and from business as well. So I will now switch to the next slide. Yeah. Okay. So my statement on that is quite bold. It's technology can save the world. I think I said this in the short video teaser, which you may have seen in Twitter or other social media. But of course, we have to do the action, we as mankind. And digitization is both. It's part of the problem. As you may know, 2% of the global CO2 emissions are coming from more cloud computing, Netflix, binge watching, Google search, doing some stuff with Microsoft as well. And also our data centers are also at the core of the problem, but they are also in the core or at the core of the solution. So we are both. And the solution is not going about to going in reverse, going backwards into the past, going without digital or something similar, but rather to use clever and intelligent technology. So, and next slide. is now here. So, and our approach to sustainability is not only to be good or so, or doing good. It's really, and this is what I want to show you on that slide, it's also a big business. Yeah? So it's not a big business for Microsoft, it's a big business for everyone. Also when you pursue a really serious sustainability agenda, I'm quite convinced that it should have to be and need to be an integral part of your business model. And at Microsoft, it is at the very core of the business model. So the business dimensions are not only the costs. The Green Deal has also large economic dimensions. So you see on that slide four big, bold numbers. So spending on energy efficiency will rise to 60 billion over the next 7 years. Precision farming will grow to 12 billion by 2025. The global added value from the measures taken to cope with the climate crisis will amount to $26 trillion by 2030. It's, as you can imagine, one of the biggest investments in mankind. And carbon market will grow to 200 billion by 2050. So there are enough business reasons as well beyond saving our planet. But it could be also enough to do that. So, and now to our approach, which we take from a Microsoft perspective. The next slide. Yeah, now you see it. At the end, we are founded more or less. The whole sustainability program is founded on four pillars. The first pillar is more or less what we are doing ourselves, our own CO2 footprint of our own data centers, how to reduce or gain more energy efficiency, also for our products and even the packaging of our Surface notebooks, for instance. Secondly, the second layer is what we are doing with our customers and partners. So the operation of sustainable services or products on our cloud platform. So for instance, think about smart metering systems for energy, which are calculated on our cloud platform. The third pillar is with science and NGOs that are driving projects from Microsoft's $1 billion fund through programs like AI for Earth. And AI for Earth, you will hear then from Isabel more about that, is one of the, it's the cornerstone of the bigger program, which is more and less to invent technology which isn't still here, so which we need in future. So we are betting our future on technology which even didn't arrive so far. So we have to invent it. And the fourth pillar is in politics and environmental organizations, where we see trend-setting politics and guidelines, where we, of course, have a very good dialogue. Isabel is exactly doing that out of Berlin with government elites, business elites, for better guidelines and for better sustainability at stake. So our project, which Isabel will now present to you, is addressing more and less, I would say, level 3 and level 4 of that list, which you can see here. And so now I want to hand over to Isabel. And Isabel, please present now the project.
Okay, happy to do so. Thank you very much for having me join in Austria today from Berlin. Well, my name was mentioned many times now. My name is Isabel Richter, and I'm working on corporate affairs communications projects here in Germany. And I would like to travel back in time just a little bit with you and why the project that I will talk about and that I'm super happy to discuss with you and answer questions about is called Erde an KI. And it's actually, it's a project from the time before the pandemic. You will see this in the slides, the pictures and everything. So we travel back to good times. But also I need to mention this because since then, actually, we have taken a leap forward in terms of sustainability efforts at Microsoft. So at some points, I will just mention the mindset that we were at about 1.5, 2 years ago when we set up the project. Sorry, many slides. Yeah, and if you would like to get in touch and ask me questions afterwards, I'm super happy to connect with you. You can find me on Twitter or on LinkedIn, so just get in touch. And there's also some reading materials on my LinkedIn account about the project if you would like to have a look. Just to frame it, Tom mentioned a lot about our sustainability efforts at Microsoft, but I would also like to just mention our corporate digital responsibility efforts at Microsoft, our corporate social responsibility. This is something we do globally. I can only talk about Germany. So here we are really focusing on digital education, on employability, which is really, especially now during the pandemic, a very important programmatic that we're looking after. And the other bubble is AI for Good. And Tom mentioned that before. AI for Good is basically looking at how technology can help to solve the biggest challenges of our society, of our planet right now. And we have divided this in several other bubbles. One of them is AI for Earth. Another is, for example, AI for accessibility, also very important subject for us at Microsoft, and also AI for humanitarian action, just to name a few. And I would just like to zoom into AI for Earth right now. So AI for Earth is basically a project that, an idea how we can use technology to help the biggest environmental challenges and the climate challenges right now through technical innovation. And what does it mean, AI for Earth, or what kind of program is it? It's actually a $50 million project, or basically it's a fund of 50 million US dollars that we spend in 5 years. And we actually give out this money, not just to everyone, but to individuals, to organizations, to teams that really tackle this idea of using technology, of using artificial intelligence, of using data to make critical developments in climate change, in agriculture, in water and biodiversity. So these are the kind of 4 subjects that we are right now focusing on. I know there are a lot of others, but these are basically the 4 themes that we are looking for grantees that basically get funding, but not only money, they get technical expertise, they get access to our technology, they get the tools in their hands, they're scientists, and they get the tools to solve the problems and come up with some great technology and ideas. And this is kind of driven out of our corporate social responsibility. So we're not earning any money with this. We're not owning the ideas. We really want to kind of help to look for good ideas. Oh, sorry, I'm pressing the wrong button. I have to apologize. This is an old slide. So the number of grantees right now is probably over 500 globally. So sorry, I didn't exchange the number, but it's, you can memorize that 500. And we are having projects that we fund in 63 countries. So we have lots of grantees right now. Out of those grantees, we have 11 from Germany right now. But how actually did we find these grantees? And now I will talk about our communications project. So you've heard about AI for Earth. You've heard about the grantees. But now I travel back in time about 2 years ago. We did not have these grantees. We had no idea to find these people, to find these projects, to find these teams that we would like to basically equip and work with. And it was actually, sustainability was not something that we didn't do. We've always been involved in sustainability, but it was something that we weren't noticed for outside of our little Microsoft world. So basically no one knew that we are actually really caring and we are climate pioneers. Like, I think by now this changed, so we've done a lot of communications about it. But I guess environmental engineers didn't know about that Microsoft really was, involved in environmental challenges in agriculture and looking for ideas. And we were tasked by our mothership by Redmond to find these grantees in Germany. And we were just looking at each other and we're like, okay, how do we find these people? And that was the challenge, a challenge between communications, a challenge for philanthropies, for our philanthropies team, our CSR team, and a challenge for Microsoft Germany, because we didn't know these stakeholders of ours at that point. Oops. Yeah. So we really, from the beginning, and we are here amongst communications professionals. So I think it's very interesting that from the beginning, communications was involved in the project. It wasn't something that we were tasked with, at one point to do some communications around a special project. No, actually, we were sitting at the table from the beginning with the colleagues from CSR and from corporate affairs to kind of tackle this challenge, to find these environmental scientists who can help us and become AI for Earth grantees. And we came up with a communications and CSR campaign together from the beginning. And that's something that I'm actually quite proud of, that, this was really like a team effort and a kind of what we call one Microsoft game. And as you see, we had lots of milestones throughout the campaign. We had, some breakfasts here at Microsoft Berlin when the location was still open. We did lots of communication on our own channels. We did events, festival, etc., etc. We spoke at conferences about AI for Earth. But the heart, basically, of this campaign was our Earth Lab, and this is something that I would like to zoom in right now. So the Earth Lab was kind of a project. It was an ideation camp, very similar to a hackathon, but not a hackathon, and not, but also not, not an idea workshop. It was like a new format, and we took along Fraunhofer IAO, which is a famous research organization in Germany. We asked them to become partner and help us to set up this Earth Lab, a format to ideate, to get in touch with the stakeholders we're looking for, with environmental groups, with scientists, with young people, with startups, with old people, like anyone who was interested in using technology to tackle the climate problem. And they had to apply for this Earth Lab, and then we selected them, and then they came along and formed teams. And it was an event that took place at Microsoft Berlin over 2 days. And now I would like to give the voice to Alma Cardenas. She's a program manager for AI for Earth in Redmond, and she came over all the way to join us for this Earth Lab, and she will explain what the Earth Lab actually is. So if someone from the, I don't know, can I click the video? Yeah. Could you just start the video for me, please?
The Earth Lab workshop, we are bringing an interdisciplinary team with experts from both sides experts that know the environmental know-how and experts that know artificial intelligence. So we want to bring them together, ideate, and see if we can get concrete examples of how AI can help the environment. AI will be necessary to save the environment, but not the only thing. We need a village to fix this. We need interdisciplinary teams, collaboration. Time is of the essence. AI is the best tool we can use, but it will require all of us to do something.
Okay, so you've heard from Alma, who's a great colleague actually running this program in Redmond, AI for Earth. What the Earth Lab was about, and I tried to explain it in my own words. So basically, we came together for 2 days. We invited 50 experts, and they were from completely different fields, totally interdisciplinary. From science, from data analysts, environmentalists, social scientists, etc. 50 experts came, and we formed teams. We kind of put them into these teams. They all came with an idea. We had 42 ideas at the table, and then throughout the process of 2 days, we kind of minimized the number of ideas. So it was so we had this big funnel basically. So we had a lot of ideas, and then, over the 2 days, we kind of matched people, and they kind of elaborated on just a few. And in the end, we had 9 concepts. So that was the result, 9 concepts of projects, how technology can solve one of the areas: agriculture, biodiversity, climate change, or water. I just go back once. And it was really amazing. I mean, just to be there, because over 2 days, really no one actually, no one opened their laptops. Everyone was really into the issue, really working hard to come up with ideas, with solutions for the environment. And our partners from Fraunhofer, they're extremely, they're great. They have really the capability to bring these people together and really, make them create. So really key to the project was having great partners and not just doing this on our own. And then, of course, we wanted to not only have this event, and we also wanted to talk about this event, and we wanted to talk about the great people that we have invited and about AI for Earth and everything. So that was a very specific part of the project that was kind of my job, a communications job. And we asked ourselves the question, how can we get media involved? How can we get like a big buzz around this event and around the project? And what we did, we looked for influencers, and we engaged influencers very early on, environmental influencers, who actually stand for the topic of climate change and solving this problem. So we built an advisory board for the event, for the 2 days of Earth Lab. And the advisory board consisted of Fraunhofer, expert of Fraunhofer, of Ashoka. They're kind of in the, social entrepreneurship field, of someone from Enorm, which is a sustainability magazine here in Germany. IMO is an e-mobility organization. Then GIZ, Deutsche Gesellschaft für internationale Zusammenarbeit. From WWF, which you all know, and also from Bayer. And we asked them to be our advisory board, but also we asked them to communicate for us. So that's why we called them kind of the Brückenköpfe, the building bridges into their sustainability communities. And they got engaged on the blog beforehand, on Twitter during the event. Afterwards, we invited them to other talks at Microsoft Berlin. So we're really working and partnering with this advisory board of the Earth Lab. So I have one more video, and this is Katrin Hoffmann that you see. She was part of the advisory board, and I would like to give the word to her. Unfortunately, it's in German, so please forgive me if you don't speak German. It's only 1 or 2 minutes long, so I hope you can just sit back and relax if you don't understand, and I come back to you. So
Als Mitglied des Expertenbeirats bin ich Impulsgeberin, Feedbackgeberin für Ideen und Projekte, die hier entwickelt werden, sowie Sprachrohr in die Cleantech- und Energiewende-Community, um die Themen zu verbreiten. Ich habe jahrelang im Bereich erneuerbare Energien, Elektromobilität, Cleantech, Mikromobilität gearbeitet, habe viele Startups begleitet und bringe Expertise aus diesen Bereichen fürs Earth Lab mit. Künstliche Intelligenz hat ein Riesenpotenzial, um den Klimawandel, die Zusammenhänge zu verstehen und darauf aufbauend intelligente Lösungen zu entwickeln, um dieser großen Aufgabe mit effizienten und smarten Lösungen entgegenzuwirken.
So this was our advisory board. And now I would like to finish with the results of the 2 days Earth Lab in communications results, but also sort of business results. So after the 2 days of Earth Lab, we all came together and we looked at the ideas that, the 9 concepts that the teams actually were able to come up with after the 2 days, looking really at, okay, do we want to support them moving forward? And at the end, we actually were able to submit 5 new submissions for granteeships for AI for Earth, and the 5 were selected. So we helped them, of course, a little bit, but actually they're selected in Redmond, so it wasn't our call. So we were super proud to have 5 new grantees after the 2 days. Of course, this took a few months, but so they all got funded. So it's a bee project, it's an air project about air quality, it's Shazam for Nature, also was a biodiversity project, and one was Breeze Technologies. And now even 2 years or 1.5 years, about 1.5 years after the project, we're still working with Breeze Technologies, and they are actually now an AI for Good grantee, so this is even better, and we work with them. They actually met with Satya Nadella, our CEO, recently. It was only virtual, but we're really, really proud of this one specific project that actually came out of the Earth Lab. And one thing maybe I forgot to mention a little bit, but of course we also had journalists attending the Earth Lab. We had an evening reception. We had a specific influencer roundtable. We had a few journalists who actually accompanied the Earth Lab as sort of embedded journalists. If we count all of them, we had about 50 influencers and journalists attending. And this was also crucial personally for me, because I was able to build the relationships into this media audience of sustainability reporters that I personally didn't know before. As I said, we didn't really work with the community before this project, and this was really the kickoff and the starting point for more. And something that daily, like this network that I can use daily. We had over 700 print, online, and TV publications after the Earth Lab, about 3 months after the Earth Lab, on own channels. We had lots of media coverage. It was really, really great. And on social media, we had about 1 million reach. So if you're a number crack, this was pretty amazing. And we used all of our channels, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, to accompany this project. So I'm at the end of the presentation. I hope I was able to demonstrate you how to engage with new influencers in a new community that at the time we hadn't heard. Well, we had heard of it, but we hadn't engaged with. And I think we would have liked to do the Earth Lab again, and we couldn't because of the pandemic. So I'm not sure if we will repeat exactly this program, but I think it's something we definitely look into moving forward for sustainability or any other new issues or themes that we're working on here in Germany. So I think we have 10-15 minutes for questions.
Yeah, thank you very much for this very interesting topic and CSR information. I think your project is a great role model also for every company, but also for smaller companies, because it's still possible. If you don't have that much money, you can still do something. And well, I just had a look to the Q&A section. I can't see any questions, but I have one. I would like to know, because you said everything happened before the corona crisis. Do you think the topic of CSR has changed somehow through corona? Did companies think more about acting responsibly, or did they change anything?
Who do you want to ask?
Both.
I can start. I'm deeply convinced that sustainability as a part of the corporate social responsibility thing has to be rooted into the business model of any company who is pretending something, doing good for instance, for Earth, or for a sustainable future, or for children, or for security. So I think the pandemic didn't change anything about that. It has to be deeply grounded. It has to be a tailor suit to the company and not coming, from C&A, Konfektion. Don't know the right word for Konfektionsware, but it's not so easy to take it and just or you have maybe the risk to be blamed for greenwashing, whatever, because you're not serious about that. So this is a little bit my view. Isabel.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's really CSR and also sustainability is part of our DNA. And well, I think the pandemic didn't change much. Actually, we had our biggest commitments to sustainability during the pandemic, and we made the biggest announcements and really continue to set our goals and continue to measure ourselves against our sustainability commitments. And the pandemic didn't change that at all. And also, when you mention CSR, I think CSR just, it's still important, and it's always been important. And the pandemic maybe just showed us the direction we need to take right now. Like now, I mentioned in the beginning, it's digital education and also employability. These were topics that came up, at least here in Germany, as a societal issue. And and we made sure that we helped to take our role and fix it a little bit.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for all these insights. We are coming to an end. Thank you for being here and talking with us.